Bigger danger, frankly, is Trump's social media posts. And there has already been a suggestion that 3 of those posts are posts that he should be fined for. I believe it's the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is seeking a fine of $1,000 per post for 3 posts, including one where he describes Michael Cohen, his one-time attorney, turned adversary, as a sleazebag.
Now, all 12 members of the jury for Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York have been selected, but only after 2 who'd already been sworn in were dismissed. The former president is charged with falsifying business records to conceal a payment to the former porn star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. Well, Niall Stanage is White House columnist at US News and Politics website The Hill.
The judge in this case has said that he needs 6 alternates because this trial in totality could last anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. So there are some more alternates still to be selected, but we have the 12 people who will form the jury.
And what do we know about them? Because interestingly, there are some details that have emerged.
There are. The foreman of the jury is Irish-born and a resident of the neighborhood of Harlem, and a sales professional. The gender split is almost 50-50. I believe it's 7 men and 5 women, coming from all different walks of life, different ethnicities, different business backgrounds, obviously. So it is an intriguing mix. We should perhaps point out that both the defense and the prosecution had 10 strikes where they could, dismiss a potential juror without giving a reason. They haven't used all those strikes, I don't believe, and we have the 12 people.
So some were dismissed yesterday, weren't they?
Yes, I mean, some have been dismissed throughout this process. The initial pool to find these 12 jurors and 6 alternates is about 500 New Yorkers. So the court had been working its way through those people in tranches of about 96 at a time. Now, a lot of people were instantly ruled out because either they themselves said they could not be impartial when it came to Mr. Trump, or there was some evidence of partiality one way or another.
And how are they checked out? I mean, are they simply just asked questions? Are there background checks? How does it work?
Well, the main thing in this court is that there is a 42 questionnaire that they have to go through. Now, in addition, it would appear that the lawyers for each side have checked out some of these people to the extent that they can. One of the reports on Thursday's proceedings was talking about the fact that the legal team for Mr. Trump engaged in what was almost a sort of quasi cross-examination of some of these prospective jurors before it was decided whether to put them on or to try to keep them off.
Many people, certainly observing from the UK, would say, how can anyone be impartial when it comes to Donald Trump? He's such a divisive figure. How is it possible to get a jury that is going to be able to go in with an open mind?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it's very difficult to imagine that there are 12 people who could be found anywhere, least of all New York City, who have a genuinely agnostic state of mind as far as Donald Trump is concerned. I think what we have seen over the jury selection process, Chloe, has been prospective jurors acknowledging that they have feelings or a sense or a perception of Donald Trump, but arguing that they would nonetheless be able to be impartial in applying the law in this case. One female prospective juror equated it with the fact that said she doesn't like some of her work colleagues, but she doesn't go around trying to sabotage her work. How much that analogy holds, I'll leave your listeners to decide, but that's the kind of arguments we're hearing.
So the main jurors have been selected, and as you rightly point out, there's almost like these extra jurors, aren't there, in case anything goes wrong, they don't want the trial to collapse. And so what those jurors would sit and watch all of the evidence as well throughout the trial, just in case they're called upon.
Yes, exactly. You're essentially on the subs bench, but you still have to watch the match. So the idea is that, say, for example, one of the original 12 fell ill or had a family emergency, had something that was just obviously imperative that they cease to be a juror, then you would swap someone in, and the substitute would have been following the case, would have been in the courtroom, would have seen all the evidence for themselves. So the theory is they could then fairly seamlessly be introduced into the actual jury of a dozen people.
And so what happens now? We're expecting the trial itself to get underway next week.
Yes, that's right. Monday is expected right now for opening arguments in this trial. Now, it's fair to say, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll get all the alternates on Friday, but we could get them today. So that then will be the final step in jury selection, assuming no one else is disqualified, of course. And we will expect opening arguments on Monday. The court sits every weekday except Wednesday until we get a verdict.
And remind us what the charges are.
34 counts of falsifying business records. The underlying matter pertains to a payment of $130,000 to the adult actress Stormy Daniels. That payment was apparently made to silence her from making the allegation that she had a sexual encounter with Donald Trump in 2006. This payment was made in the closing stretch of the 2016 presidential campaign.
And is Donald Trump behaving himself? I mean, in the sense that he said some outrageous things before at other court proceedings. Is he so far sitting quietly and listening, or has he got in trouble so far?
Well, he's sitting quietly and listening while he's in the court, bar one example. He was warned one day earlier this week for muttering audibly within earshot of a potential juror when there was some legal argy-bargy about social posts that she had made around the time of the 2020 election. The bigger danger, frankly, is Trump's social media posts, and there has already been a suggestion that 3 of those posts are posts that he should be fined for. I believe it's the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is seeking a fine of $1,000 per post for 3 posts, including one where he describes Michael Cohen, his one-time attorney turned adversary, as a sleazebag.
That was Niall Stanage, who is White House columnist at the US News and Politics website, The Hill.